Alright, what's up guys, Toasty here, Get Burnt. Today I'm going to be doing a dual commentary with someone you probably haven't heard from in a long time. If not, you haven't heard of him before. But today we're going to be talking about review scores, and you want to introduce yourself really quick?
Yes, hello. I am Evil Grin Gaming, currently Swag Kage, running 2 channels, so I guess Toasty will probably link those down below. Some of you guys may know who I am, but, some of you might not, so hello, how are you?
Alright, yeah, so today we're going to be talking about the Famitsu score for Dragon Ball Xenoverse. So, a lot of people have been talking about this. I've gotten a few tweets about this morning, and a lot of people were like, oh man, Xenoverse got rated lower than Battle of Z, Budokai Tenkaichi 3, Budokai 3, Ultimate Tenkaichi, and all that stuff by Famitsu, which is usually they're the first Japanese company to get the games that come out for pretty much anime games in general, I believe. I don't really think I've seen any other company get it before, and they usually rate depending on 4 people's different opinions, and then they average that out, and that's the review score. So Xenoverse got a 30 out of 40, and to give you some sort of stance on where that is, Battle of Z got a 32 out of 40, and Budokai Tenkaichi 3 got a 32 out of 40, and Budokai 3 got a 31 out of 40. So it's kind of seeming to not be that well done. What do you think about it, Mr. Swagkage, or Evil Grin Gaming, whatever you like to be called?
Well, the fact that Battle of Z is apparently on the same level as BT3 on the PS2, as well as better than Budokai 3. I mean, I don't get how you do that. Sage Naruto Goku was the best thing that came out of Battle of Z, and not only was that a pre-order bonus, but it was also pretty I don't get how 4 people can rate a game where you just press Y over and over and over again, and 8 just all around the board. And so it's like, if they think Battle of Z, which has all of the same concepts, or all of the same base concepts that Xenoverse has, just done worse, if they could say that's a better game than Xenoverse, I don't know. It's just inconsistent, and I mean, just to say the least, it just sounds like it's stupid, basically.
What kind of irks me here is that, obviously Xenoverse getting a 30 out of 40 is okay. This game, obviously, for a lot of people, it's obviously not perfect. Everybody knows this. Xenoverse isn't perfect, but it being rated lesser than Ultimate Tenkaichi and Battle of Z makes me a little bit I just wonder why they did that, and I think really, Xenoverse is not supposed to be only a single player game, as we already know. This is a game that's mainly supposed to be oh yeah, create character, go in this hub world with your friends, all that other stuff. It's mainly an online game.
Yeah, exactly. And that's what it's been marketed
since the game, it's even the people who are supposed to get early copies have not got early copies yet. Review order copy or whatever, anything like that normal game companies always do. People haven't even gotten those copies yet. That doesn't happen until mid-February or something. So what I want to know is, if they got the game this early, before they've even shown most of the most of the full stuff for the game, how does that really transition for online? The only people that could have played with them is pretty much those 4 together. Unless people like IGN and those companies have already gotten the game, in which case that makes me wonder, because localization and stuff hasn't even started yet really for Xenoverse. The game just finished development a few days ago, so I'm genuinely curious as to how that happened and what happened there. So I don't know. Xenoverse itself getting rated as that low, I just don't think they should have reviewed it this early. I think they should have waited until most other people, review companies, as well as people who are getting the game early for review copies, got it, so that they could play online with other people instead of just those 4 playing together, so that everybody could have had a better experience. But I don't know. Maybe it actually is like that. But then again, you also got to think about how much you have to work to actually get somewhere in Xenoverse, because in Xenoverse in the beginning you are not that far in. You're not extremely strong like you are in Raging Blast or any other game besides I don't even know about Budokai 3, because you do have to work to get all your moves for that game. Yeah. And in Xenoverse, it's kind of the same sort of thing. You got to work to get moves for your created character and all that other stuff. Mostly, I would assume that all they really played was the story, and they didn't do that much of the actual created character stuff, mainly focusing on that. Or at least that's what I would assume. And if that's the case, then they really didn't give the game a full review. They gave it a half kind of review, probably not even half, because they even have said in interviews before that this game is not mainly supposed to be a story game. It's supposed to be unlimited replayability in the online aspect, and then for the story aspect it's 10 hours. So I don't know. I guess that if that's what they gave it, then I guess that's what they gave it. It getting less than Ultimate Tenkaichi, obviously, and Battle of Z, I think is obvious, like just stupidity. It's not real, or at least not real, but I don't think that it's what actually it is in retrospective, because I played the network test and I honestly like that entire thing more than Battle of Z as a whole, and Ultimate Tenkaichi is as well, because Xenoverse, unlike Ultimate Tenkaichi, actually has gameplay. So. But what do you think? I've been talking for too long. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, like, the thing about this is, you know, like, you brought up the point, like, how they already got a review copy, like, how it got shipped to them, even though development for the game only finished a couple days ago. Like, they got a copy, you know, like, they had to wait for shipping, and then somehow they played through with all of the races, unlocked all of the super attacks. Like, yeah, that doesn't make any sense. Like, with Ultimate Tenkaichi, it took me like a month to unlock all of the super attacks, and that was when I was grinding away, trying to do it just for the sake of uploading a video. So it's like, I mean, like, if you don't have all the super attacks in the game too, like, yeah, like you said, like, I mean, like, if you don't have everything in the game, I guess, basically, it's not really fair to review it, because of the fact that, like, you can have a Saiyan that uses Chocolate Beam in the game. You can make a fat Majin wearing the Great Saiyaman outfit with body change as his ultimate and give him the Ginyu poses. You can do whatever you want in this game, and somehow it's worse than Ultimate Tenkaichi, where you can only create 3 male Saiyans. Like, really?
Yeah.
Like, are you sure? Because, like, I mean, and from what's been shown of the gameplay, this game looks like, I mean, the characters look way different from one another, and that's not something I've ever seen in a Dragon Ball Z game before. It was kind of there
like
in
Budokai 3.
Yeah, it was kind of in the
it was
Budokai
more
games.
in Infinite World that everybody was different. Then again, there were less characters in Infinite World, but then again, they were a lot more different characters in terms of like how they fought. Like Cell in Budokai 3 did feel a lot more like every other character than his own character himself. But then in Infinite World, he was a completely different character than everybody else.
Yeah, exactly.
So
and
that sort of thing really was there in Infinite World, and that's actually what I liked most about Infinite World. Even though it was like hard as nails, I loved it because of that. Everyone felt different. And that's why I'm like really excited for Xenoverse, because I think everyone's going to be at least somewhat different. So I'm pretty happy about that.
Yeah, see, whereas in most games, just the animations are different. The characters don't really feel different themselves. Like in Raging Blast 2, all the characters were split up into 7 different combo types, and that's about as varied as you got. Whereas in this game, not only can you make your own combos with the characters, but, I mean, they all have different super attacks that are all in real time, so they all affect gameplay in a completely different way. It's like the special moves from Super Smash Bros. In that regard. And, you know, like, they all have different combo setups, and then you can even make your own character, decide how they fight and stuff. And, you know, like, I think it'll be cool to see how, say, Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta plays, because I feel like he's just going to feel like an all-around powerhouse, and he's just going to be, like, really fun. And like playing as Super Saiyan 4 Gogeta in this game is going to feel a lot more different from playing as, say, like Ultimate Gohan, as opposed to in Budokai Tenkaichi 3 or something like that. And, you know, like, to say this game is worse than, like, every other DBZ game that's come out, like, this was their lowest score next to Revenge of King Piccolo. Like, really? Like, this game is basically better than every other DBZ game in every way from what I've seen so far, aside from the characters inside the game that we can see so far. So, you know.
Yeah, I kind of agree, but obviously I really haven't played the full game yet, so I have no idea really how good the game actually is, because there's a really big difference between watching and playing Xenoverse.
I understand, yeah.
I think that Xenoverse itself, yes, I will admit, it is really not that fun to watch. It really isn't, but for me, it was a lot more fun to play than it was to watch, and I just felt like it was a very fun experience while I was playing the network test, and that's why I'm just like baffled at the fact that they could rate this lower than Ultimate Tenkaichi. Like,
that's what I'm gonna say. Like, this is an actual game. Like, watching Xenoverse might not be that fun, but like playing Ultimate Tenkaichi is the same thing as watching it. So I mean,
yeah, I don't know if they just meant in terms of story, but even then, like, it has actual, like, I guess if they wanted to just like be talking about the story, I guess maybe they thought that the story itself wasn't that good or something. I'm not sure. We really don't know. It doesn't seem like they've given more of an actual full review, or at least I haven't been able to find it. I probably will be finding it after this video. I'm probably trying to link it in the description of a full review of what they said, and obviously it's going to be in Japanese, but I'm going to try and translate it. But yeah, I don't know. if they gave a full review and they thought the story wasn't that good, and obviously them trying to be the first ones to actually be reviewing the game, I guess they wanted to get this review out early, and they just wanted to make sure that everybody knew that the story wasn't as great as we thought it would be in terms of it changing everything, I guess. But I don't know. I think that the gameplay, especially in the Dragon Ball Z game, matters a little bit more than just the story. But
even then, you get to fight Dark Hercule in the game, and the fact that Dark Hercule is a thing kind of puts the story at a 10 out of 10. So
just it's instantly the best one.
Yeah, I'm just saying, like, Hercule can be your master, and then you can fight Dark Hercule with Hercule's moves, the ultimate test. You know, you got to fight the champ. He's the greatest, and it's like that's the best thing ever.
Yep. Alright, so that's pretty much it for the discussion of Xenoverse being lower than the other Dragon Ball Z games. And just, like, what are your thoughts just in general about this?
About, like, this?
Yeah, about Xenoverse getting rated lower than the other Dragon Ball Z games.
I mean, like, as somebody who didn't play the network test because I don't have a PS3, like, I mean, people can easily say, like, oh, well, you don't know what you're talking about, you haven't played the game. But it's like, it can't be worse than Ultimate Tenkaichi. There's no way. Like, no. I mean, like, I don't even hate Ultimate Tenkaichi. I'm just saying, like, it has more depth. Like, whether you just, whether it's your opinion or not, like, the game has more depth. You know, like, you can do more, and that's just it. So, I mean, like, there's more content, there's more to do. I mean, like, the review's just not reliable, basically.
Yeah, I don't know. It just seems like these people, especially after rating Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Budokai 3 lower than Battle of Z, it just really seems like... And this is Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on PS2. For some reason, Budokai Tenkaichi 3 on the Wii, I guess because of the online, got a
quote-unquote online.
Yeah, it got a 9 instead of one of the 8s that they had actually given it for the normal PS2 version. Yeah, I guess that for one person, it made it that much better to where it got a 9 instead of an 8. But I don't know. I guess that they think that Battle of Z is a better game than Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Budokai 3, which I don't know. I can't really trust that much because, you know, it's Battle of Z. Yeah. And Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Budokai 3 are known as like the best games in the Dragon Ball franchise.
Exactly, yeah.
At least by the fan standards. And Battle of Z being rated higher than that is kind of a stretch. Obviously, Raging Blast and Burst Limit being at the top of the list is a little bit more understandable because those games, at least for a niche people, at least Burst Limit like has some of the best visuals that have come out of Dragon Ball Z games. Some of the best. Obviously, it's full opinion on which game, like Ultimate Tenkaichi, Burst Limit, or Raging Blast 1, made the best visuals. It's understandable that it's up there. Raging Blast, same thing. Like, a lot of people love the story in Raging Blast as well as the combat system. Some people like it more than 2, especially because it has more content than 2, and that makes sense. But the fact that Budokai Tenkaichi 3 and Budokai 3, which are some of the fan favorites of Dragon Ball Z games, are lower than Battle of Z, which is known as one of the worst Dragon Ball Z games that can't even follow the actual story correctly without trying to like put Krillin and Raditz's like in Piccolo's place. That's just a problem. And I don't know. I just think that these guys are not the people to look for when you're looking for an actual Dragon Ball Xenoverse review. I guess look for the majority of reviews when it comes out, I guess. But segueing from that, what do you think about reviews for games in general? Do you think they're reliable? Do you think that they mean anything? Do you think that they're good in terms of trying to scope out if you really want the game or not? Like, what are your thoughts about that?
Well, I mean, like with any opinion, which is just what reviews are, just somebody's opinion. There are some that are more reliable than others, and it all depends on, first of all, bias, and second of all, like, scores don't mean anything to me just because of the fact that is just, like, that's completely opinion-based, because the problem with scores are they're made up of what the reviewer thinks of the pros of the game and what the reviewer thinks of the cons of the game. And some negative aspects of a game might not matter to particular people. That's why there are people who like Ultimate Tenkaichi. And I'm just like, I don't blame you, like, if you like that sort of thing, whatever. And so, like, you can't label it with a score. What you have to do with a review is you have to say, this is what's good about the game, this is what's bad about the game. If you're fine with that, then go ahead and get it. If not, this might not be for you. Instead of just getting 4 people to give their opinions in the form of a number and then just mixing them all together, like, you know, like, that just doesn't make sense.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, I think that for reviews in general, I think that they are kind of... It's hard because a lot of them are biased all the time. Like, some games, I'm not going to name any because, you know, people are going to be defensive about these games, but some games got higher ratings than they should have. Some games get hundreds when they're not hundreds. Like, there are a lot of games in game today, and a lot of reviews are paid, and that's the point of it. That's just what happens in gaming today. Companies pay publishers pay companies to give their games better reviews because more better reviews will generate more sales, and the more that happens, the better the reviews get, and the better more people buy it. And that's what the publisher is looking for, because obviously a company's main focus is to make money, whether you like it or not. That is just the fact of gaming industry and just companies in general. So it's hard to actually say if reviews are really trustworthy. Maybe if you could find like a certain site that really doesn't get shaped by companies that much, that get paid by companies to give games a better score or anything like that. But it really just doesn't. I haven't seen any company that really does that completely without giving a really bad game a 10 out of 10. Like you mentioned yourself, obviously IGN's like the main example for a bad review company, at least by a lot of people. 7.8 out of 10, too much water. But I mean, like Sonic 06 getting rated higher than Adventure 2,
like that. Like I wasn't ready for that when I heard that. I just kind of had to sit back from it. Like I know a lot of people say Adventure 2 is overrated, but
yeah, and it is.
It is. Like I love Adventure 2. I will admit it's overrated, but like worse than 06? No.
06 is a full-on unfinished game, and I don't understand how somebody could actually say that 06 is better than Adventure 2. Like, you may think that some like Adventure 2 parts are crappy, like a lot of people don't like the Tails Knuckles level, myself included.
But hey, those are in 06 too, by the way.
Those are all in 06, and there are a lot more of them, and they're a lot worse. So, and there are a lot more glitches and everything, and somehow that game got a higher rating. That makes no sense. So, I don't know. For me, it seems like unless you could find some company or some site that really reviews games based on what they think of them instead of just sugarcoating it, especially when they get a little money in their pockets, then I guess that you could try and judge reviews off if you think you should buy it or not. But although I think you should mainly stick to people separately who like stuff like YouTube reviewers, like a lot of YouTube reviewers who don't get paid to give the game a good review. There are some genuine ones, like for me, one of my favorites, and you've already said this as well before we did this commentary, that you like Some Call Me Johnny, and he seems to do reviews not based on nostalgia or anything like that. He seems to actually say if the game is good or not based on whatever your preference is, because there's a lot of different things going into a Dragon Ball Z game or any other kind of game. If the niche is there for you, like if you like Dragon Ball Z, you're going to probably like a Dragon Ball Z game. It's more likely that you'll like a Dragon Ball Z game if you like Dragon Ball Z before you even play it. If you don't, then you're most likely not going to like it.
Yeah, exactly. You know, like if you don't like Dragon Ball Z, you won't care about all the fan service and stuff that's stuffed into Raging Blast 1. You know, like that's why I like Raging Blast 1 so much, just because of all the cool attacks that they have in the game. You know, like Genocide Breaker was introduced in that game. That's where Vegeta killed Jace, where Frieza killed Krillin, all that stuff. And I was like, oh my god, that's so cool. And then my friends who didn't care about Dragon Ball Z were like, okay, I don't care. It's like, yeah, that's just how it works. You know, like that's how games are. If you have a niche for it, like you said, then you're gonna like it. If not, you won't. That's, you know, so that's why review scores are done.
That's really what Dragon Ball Z games are now that I think about it. Like, I mean, really, they're trying to be just something for the people who love the show that much. Like, because think about it like this: Ultimate Tenkaichi, obviously game without gameplay, but they were trying to make it as close to the show as possible to give you that nostalgic feeling of watching the show again, but in like a whole new light. But that's not how it worked, because, you know, it's a game, not a movie. So
yeah,
everybody didn't like it. But then they tried to do Raging Blast 2 or Raging Blast 1 even, and they had, as you said, they implemented a bunch of new moves that were not in the previous games, that were from the show, that a lot of people wanted in the older games, and they didn't get them. But then they got them in Raging Blast, and a lot of people love that game for that reason, because it implemented a lot of stuff that a lot of people who love Dragon Ball Z love. So
yeah,
and the same thing is happening with Xenoverse, because like if you don't care about Dragon Ball Z, you're not going to care about making a Boo race. You're not going to care about making a Namekian. You're not going to care about making anything besides a Saiyan. Even if you don't like Dragon Ball Z, you're probably going to still want to make a Saiyan anyway, just because Goku is such a well-known character in the world, period. Even though you may not like Dragon Ball Z, you probably know who Goku is, and you probably heard of him once in your life. And if you're watching this video, you most likely know everything about Dragon Ball Z, because, you know, this is a Dragon Ball Z oriented channel. So.
Yeah, and you know, like you were saying, like if you don't like Dragon Ball Z, you probably won't care that much about Xenoverse. But if you do like Dragon Ball Z, if you're a really hardcore fan, you're gonna love the ability to combine Super Saiyan 2 with 20 times Kaioken. You're gonna love being able to do Chocolate Beam. You're gonna love being able to do 100 times Big Bang Kamehameha, being able to train with Hercule, all that great stuff. And that's because it's fan service, and people who don't like Dragon Ball Z don't get it.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, it was kind of different back in the day with like the Budokai games. But even then, Budokai 1 was like really trying to like capture the feeling of watching the series, especially with its cutscenes and stuff like that.
The opening too, Rock the Dragon in America.
Yeah, it was pretty much just the actual Dragon Ball Z opening, just reskinned with the game's graphics and like with Rock the Dragon even in the background and all that stuff. And it's like it was trying to be exactly what the show was at that time. And then Budokai 3 was kind of different, but it was trying to be more of a game. I don't even know if I could say for competitive people, because the game itself, even though it is somewhat competitive, it still had things like the Dragon Rush, which are just one of my main gripes with the game. So I don't know, they seem like they were trying to cater especially to fans, because all Dragon Ball Z games, that's what they're meant to do. They are meant to grab the fans' attention, because the fans are the ones that will really hold on to these games, instead of the people who don't like Dragon Ball Z who drop it after a week.
Yeah, exactly. And that's why, like we were saying before the video started, like if you get somebody at IGN who doesn't like Dragon Ball Z to review something like Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2, like what's the point? People who are Dragon Ball Z fans are the only people who are gonna watch a Dragon Ball Raging Blast 2 review. So why would you do that?
It's like somebody who's saying they don't like anime, so they get J-Star's Victory Versus, which has like a bunch of anime characters. Like, makes no sense. That doesn't work that way. It's supposed to be like, if you enjoy these anime and you love the crossover stuff, then J-Stars is the game for you. If you like Dragon Ball Z a lot and all that stuff, this game is for you. If you like Naruto, this game is for you. It's like, that's the point of them being Dragon Ball Z, Naruto, and crossover games.
Yeah, exactly. Like the Star Wars Battlefront games, which everyone loves, were made for Star Wars fans. And because just about everyone and their mother has seen Star Wars, it's like nobody has a problem with that. Star Wars The Force Unleashed is the same way, but, it's just like, okay.
So... yeah, in full, because we've been talking quite a while here, but in full, I think that reviews, unless you're getting it from a direct source that is definitely reliable and not being paid to give the game a certain score, or just like trying to be honest or whatever, or anything like that, then you're gonna have to look a little bit. And if you find someone like that, then that's good, and you could base your getting the game off of them. But if not, then well, then don't worry about reviews. Actually worry about what your actual friends in real life, if they have the same interests as you, worry about what they think. Maybe if it's someone who you know loves Dragon Ball Z and gets Xenoverse, and you love Dragon Ball Z too, but you don't know if you're gonna like the game or not, wait for them to get it and have them tell you what they think about it. If they love it a lot, then there you go. But if they don't, then there you go, because obviously the company most likely isn't gonna be paying your friend to give the game a good review. So yeah, that's pretty much all I gotta say. I mean, like, just don't base your entirety of opinions off of just review sites, because they could always be biased. Like Battle of Z, like for example, here getting a 32. I mean, honestly, I don't think that this game was gonna get like, that game at least was gonna get any sort of good review from anywhere. It was just because the game itself is so devoid of content and everything. But that's just how it is. But just don't base everything you think off reviews. And you want to say something else?
I mean, no, not really. Yeah, basically what you said. Like, if somebody gives Dragon Ball Xenoverse a 30 out of 40, I mean, it's not the end of the world. The game could still be very fun. It's like when everybody freaked out about Omega Ruby Alpha Sapphire 7.8 out of 10 too much water. It's like, no, the game's still great. Just like Xenoverse is probably going to be great. Like, if it's bad, I'm gonna have to go out in the street and commit seppuku.
Give up.
Yeah.
Just give up on Dragon Ball Z games as a whole. It's like, there's nothing after this. There
can't like, it's like if Sonic Generations was bad, I would have just been like, no.
See,
I can't.
How could you mess this up? I'm just done with this. I can't do it. And then just leave the room. Can't do it anymore.
Exactly. Basically, yeah. So, like, that's all I have to say about that. Like, the game still has a bunch of potential to be good. Don't worry about the review scores. They're dumb.
Alright, so now that we are at kind of the end of the video, I want to talk about your channel and what you do so that everybody can come to subscribe to you and everything like that.
Oh yeah, sure. Well, I mean, did you want to say something, or do you want me to?
No, I'll just say the outro of the video, but you can do your channel pitch right here so that everybody can subscribe to you.
All right, awesome. So yeah, like I just get this great plug at the very end. So basically, why you should watch my stuff is I do a bunch of Dragon Ball stuff. I'm gonna be doing a lot of stuff that isn't just specifically Dragon Ball related. Like I'm probably gonna be playing a lot of Smash Brothers and things like that on the channel. It's basically just an all things geek channel, and so my main series is going to be called Dragon Ballology, where I take a look at particular aspects of Dragon Ball. The first episode is up. It's about Super Saiyans, and it just talks about say like particular aspects, educates people on things about Dragon Ball. I've got a bunch of different topics up, like power levels, fusion, stuff like that I'm planning on doing later. But so yeah, check it out if you're interested in that kind of stuff. That's all I gotta say.
All right then. His channel link will be in the description if you want to check it out. I watched his Dragon Ball G video and it was really good. It was really informative. I really enjoyed it. And yeah, that's really all I gotta say for today, guys. Thank you guys so much for watching this video. If you guys enjoyed it, make sure to leave a like down below, as well as go to Suikaga's channel over here and subscribe to him, because he does make good content as far as I've seen, especially on his older channel. He did make really good content. And yeah, that's all I gotta say. So yeah, you want to say goodbye?
Yes, bye everybody. Hope to see you soon.
All right, I'll see you guys in the next video. Peace out.